In all areas?
Correct, in the city.
What city? Which city?
This is the city of Suwanee. All right, you're in front of our building. All right, so you are free to do this. It is your freedom of speech, but you need a city permit in order to conduct this. All right.
And you're going to arrest me if I don't comply?
You will be cited for a city ordinance. That's correct.
Are you a Christian?
Am I Christian? That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So God's law doesn't matter?
Huh?
God's law doesn't matter?
We're not here talking about God's law, sir.
Well, I am talking about God's law. Why don't you care about God's law?
That's not an important conversation I'm here to have with you, sir.
So when it comes to establishing justice, God's law is not important to the conversation, because this has to do with justice, what's going on right now. You're seeking to enforce an unjust law.
So hold on, because that's not what we're discussing here. My religion isn't what we're discussing right now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. You're acting according to your religion right now.
What is my religion?
Your religion is that you
now you're assuming, right?
No, I'm seeing you're acting it out before me. You're living it out in front of me right now, because you're trying to enforce the state law. You're not the state law, the city ordinance, not the state law, the city ordinance. You're trying to enforce that, so that you're living out your religion right now. So that's why I can say that.
It's not a religion, man.
A religion is a belief system that you use to make sense of reality, and so you're living according to your belief system, in which it's okay for you to enforce city ordinances that are contrary to the law of God.
That's my job, right?
Right. Your job is to carry out injustice.
See the badge?
Yes. Right now.
My job.
Right.
City ordinance, state laws.
An unjust law. An unjust law according to God's law.
So I don't make that decision, right?
God makes the decision. God made the decision already. God's law is above the city ordinance, so you always have to obey the higher law.
All right, so that's your God, right? Like you just said, it's your belief. That's what controls your reality.
Well, he's your God too. Right? He's going to judge you on Judgment Day. He's going to judge you for everything you do. Right, you're not going to acknowledge it, but you need to, because God's going to judge you one day for everything that you do. He's going to judge you for every unjust law that you've enforced.
Okay, but that's your belief, right? So if I don't believe in that, how does that work?
Well, simply not believing in something doesn't make it go away. Like someone could say,
right. So like the city ordinance, right?
Right. So think about how God's law is not going to go away just because you ignore it, and think about how Judgment Day
isn't going to go away just because you choose to ignore it. Right?
Well, I didn't.
There's going to be consequences to that action, correct?
Well, I have since you've told me about it. Since you've told me about it, I have not used the megaphone. Right? Okay.
You're correct.
Okay. Yeah. So, but you're ignoring God's law, and that's the problem here.
I'm not here to discuss God's law with you, because that's not something I'm here to discuss with you.
Well, I am here to discuss God's law with you.
And that's fine. You can have that conversation, but it's not a conversation I choose to have with you. I'm here to discuss with you the city ordinance, which is you cannot use that megaphone unless you have a permit. Do you understand that?
I understand. You're trying to enforce an unjust law, and so I encourage you to not do that.
You may believe it's unjust as much as you want.
God says it's unjust.
That is your right as an American citizen, sir. But you need to understand, you still have to follow that rule.
Well,
are we on the same page there?
I mean, I don't have to follow the rule. I could break it if I want to.
There's consequences if you don't, right?
If you decide to break God's law and act unjustly.
So I'm not here for God's law. That's not how this works.
Right, because you enforce pagan laws. You enforce pagan laws.
Pagan laws.
Yes.
What's a pagan law?
A secular humanistic law, created in which humans are the deities. Humans are the deities who dictate what's moral and what's not.
All right. So here's the deal. Right. Are you going to continue to use the megaphone?
I'm not gonna use the megaphone.
Okay. I mean, that's all it boils down to, man.
And you need to stop enforcing unjust laws.
That's my job. It's not an unjust law. It's a law that was written and made
by humans in contradiction to God's law, which doesn't prohibit people from using a megaphone to project loud sound in the public to proclaim the gospel.
I mean, people are uncomfortable about what you're saying, man. So if you're
well, that doesn't matter. That's completely irrelevant. Yeah, God wants me to make people uncomfortable with their sin. Right. Yes, because God wants people to be uncomfortable about their sin. He doesn't want them to live at peace with their sin.
That's not their belief system. How's that fair for you to force that on someone else?
Because God tells me I'm supposed to tell them about it.
So God told you that?
Yes, Matthew 28. Matthew 28 in the Bible, he told his disciples to go make disciples of all nations, teaching them everything is commanded. What?
God came down and wrote the Bible?
He inspired men to write the Bible.
Okay. So that's a belief system, right?
Yep.
So now that's someone forcing that on someone else, right? So how's that fair?
Well, you could call it forcing, but if it doesn't matter if it's forcing it on someone by using a megaphone or preaching at them. It doesn't matter. God wants me to do it.
Okay.
He wants me to proclaim Him to the public.
Well, feel free to do that just without the megaphone, man.
And I encourage you to stop enforcing unjust laws.
Okay.
Are you a Christian?
Sorry?
Are you a Christian?
I don't want to say Christian.
What's your belief system?
I believe somebody out there, I don't know who.
Okay. Well, God has revealed Himself in the Bible. You should trust that.
Yeah. I mean, people believe different things, like he said. I don't want to get into this whole religion thing, because then it's gonna be a whole different argument.
Well, you're being religious right now by what you're doing.
Okay.
But your job is a religious endeavor.
The reason we're here is just because of the megaphone, man. You can say whatever you want. You got your own beliefs. You're allowed to do that. Freedom of speech, all that. The only thing is, unfortunately, City of Swanee, unless you're having some type of event approved by the city, you can't use the megaphone. Okay.
You're just right now, by telling me that, you're practicing the religion of secular humanism.
Okay. Well, if you wanna tell me that, that's fine. But I'm just telling you what you're allowed and allowed to do and what you can't do right now. Okay. Unfortunately, that's just the law or the ordinance that the city wrote. That's what they wanted done, so that's what they did. Okay.
Well, I encourage you to not enforce pagan laws. Don't enforce secular humanism.
Okay.
Don't force the religion of secular humanism on me. And instead, well, you are, because you're basically saying there's going to be consequences if I don't do what the secular humanism dictates that I do.
Well, unfortunately, that is the truth. So I'm just telling you what's going to happen.
Well,
however you want to take it, that's up to you.
Follow God instead of men.
Okay.
Yeah, follow God instead of men. Read the Bible, and it'll tell you what God's law is, and then you can learn how to treat people justly, and then you can stop enforcing unjust laws.
I got it. Appreciate it. You good then? Just don't use the megaphone, all right?
I understand that you don't want me to use it.
Okay, I'm just telling you. I'm not lying to you. There's going to be consequences if you do, because you're being warned right now. Okay, that's what you're being told. I'm not telling you you can't talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'm just telling you can't do it using the megaphone.
And there's going to be consequences from God for you if you do enforce that pagan, secular, humanistic
law. I guess
law.
I'll deal with that when I get there, huh?
Yeah, and you need a warning about that.
Okay, well, I appreciate the warning, man. All right, man. We'll get out of your hair. Just don't use the megaphone, okay? All right, you have a good one. Just one more thing, man. We need to see your ID.
Okay. What's the purpose?
Just because we came out here and talked to you, that's the only reason.